The 9 fruits that could destroy your garden, your health, and your bank account. Welcome back to Golden Age Gardening. I'm William Scott. If you're new here and you love growing things, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Share this video with anyone who plants fruit trees or keeps a garden. You won't believe what I'm about to tell you. Here's something that keeps me up at night. Across America, good people are receiving massive fines. Their gardens are being torn apart. Authorities are showing up with official orders. And you know what the crime is? Growing a fruit tree, not a drug plant, not something illegal or dangerous on purpose, just a fruit tree they bought from a local nursery, planted in their own yard, and now they're facing thousands of dollars in penalties. This isn't a rare situation. It's happening more frequently every year. And the worst part, most of these gardeners had no idea they were breaking any law. If you've ever planted a fruit tree or even thought about it, you need to watch this entire video. I'm going to show you 9 fruits that look completely innocent but carry serious consequences. Some of them can send you to the hospital. Others can destroy your neighbor's crops or the forests nearby. A few can cost you more money in fines than most cars are worth. Why this matters more than you think? Let me explain something important. For decades, we've operated under a simple assumption. If a plant is pretty, if it grows well in our climate, and if a nursery is actually selling it, then it must be safe. That was true once, and that's not true anymore. Modern agricultural laws and invasive species regulations don't care about your good intentions. They don't care if you bought it from a reputable source. They care about one thing: what that plant can do. Can it carry disease? Can it spread uncontrollably? Can it damage crops that feed thousands of people? Can it make someone sick? That's why state governments across the country are creating do not plant lists. That's why some of the most beautiful, harmless-looking plants are now restricted or banned in certain regions. And that's why honest gardeners are getting into legal trouble. Before we continue, please like this video and leave a comment telling me what you grow in your garden. I read every single comment, and your feedback helps Golden Age Gardening reach more people who need this information.
Fruit number 1, Manchineel Tree, the poison apple of the tropics. Let's start with one of the most dangerous plants on the planet. If you've ever visited Florida, Puerto Rico, or the Caribbean, you may have seen this tree without knowing it. The Manchineel tree is small and unassuming. Its fruit looks exactly like a tiny green apple. It grows quietly along beaches where tourists walk. The tree provides shade. It looks like any other coastal plant you'd find on a tropical vacation. That appearance is precisely what makes it so deadly. This is an exaggeration. Scientists have called the Manchineel tree one of the most toxic plants in the world. Every single part of it is dangerous. Let's talk about the fruit first. One bite, just one, can cause severe burning inside your mouth and throat. Your mouth will swell. You'll experience intense pain. Your throat can close up. In the worst cases, this can be life-threatening. People have ended up in emergency rooms just from tasting a small piece. But the danger doesn't end with the fruit. The sap inside the tree is equally toxic. If you're standing under a Manchineel tree while it rains, that sap runs down the trunk and gets on your skin. It causes painful blisters. If you touch the bark directly, it burns your skin. If you cut the wood and burn it, the smoke damages your lungs and eyes. Local authorities in Caribbean regions actually mark these trees with warning signs. They paint them bright colors so people know to stay away. They tell tourists, do not shelter under this tree, do not touch the fruit, do not even cut the wood. This is absolutely not the kind of exotic plant to grow in a backyard. If you ever see a tree on a tropical beach with small green fruits and warning signs on the trunk, stay away completely. Warn your family. Don't let kids near it.
Fruit number 2, Starfruit, the kidney trap you never saw coming. Here's a fruit that seems completely harmless. It looks beautiful. It tastes good. You see it in nice restaurants and fancy fruit salads. Many gardeners in warm regions like Florida, Texas, and Hawaii think growing their own starfruit tree sounds wonderful. Starfruit, also called Carambola, is a yellow fruit. When you slice it crosswise, it creates a perfect 5-pointed star shape. It's sweet and tangy. It looks exotic and healthy. Garden stores sell these trees all the time. That's exactly why this one is so dangerous. There's a specific compound inside starfruit that acts like a poison for certain people. For healthy people with normal kidneys, it's completely fine. Your kidneys filter it out naturally. But if someone has kidney disease, even early-stage kidney disease they don't know they have yet, this compound can build up to dangerous levels in their blood. That's when things get scary. It starts small. A person might get hiccups that won't stop. Then they get confused. Muscle weakness happens. In serious cases, people have seizures. In the worst situations, it's fatal. Who's most at risk? Older adults, people with diabetes, anyone with high blood pressure, anyone with a history of kidney problems. And here's the problem. Many people in these categories don't even know they have kidney damage yet. In several parts of the United States, certain starfruit varieties are actually restricted by law. And it's not just the health concern. Starfruit trees can host citrus diseases that destroy commercial orange and grapefruit orchards. Farmers worry about backyard starfruit trees spreading disease to their crops. Think about this carefully. You buy a starfruit tree because it's beautiful. You don't know your grandparent has early kidney disease. They visit and eat some fruit. Weeks later, they're in the hospital. That beautiful yellow fruit just became a health emergency. Please share this information with anyone you know who loves tropical fruit.
Fruit number 3, Common Barberry, the wheat farmer's nightmare. This one affects agriculture across huge regions. Common barberry is a shrub with sharp spines and bright red berries growing in clusters. If you're in the northern United States or Canada, you might see old barberry hedges that have been there for generations. It looks like just another tough ornamental plant. Here's what most homeowners don't realize. Barberry can carry wheat stem rust. This is a fungal disease that destroys wheat crops. The fungus can jump between barberry and wheat crops, using the barberry shrub to survive and spread. When wheat gets infected with stem rust, the yield drops dramatically. We're talking 50% crop loss sometimes. That's not just bad for one farmer. It affects food prices across the entire country. It impacts exports. It affects the economy. Because of this, several major wheat-growing states have strict bans on common barberry. In the early 1900s, government programs literally went farm to farm, including private yards, searching for and destroying millions of barberry shrubs. One ornamental hedge could be the bridge that carried disease into massive commercial wheat fields. Many of those bans are still in place today. The confusing part? Garden centers still sell similar-looking barberry species that might be safe. Homeowners don't always know which kind they have. If you live in a wheat-growing region in the northern U.S. or Canada, and you see an old spiny shrub with bright red berries, check your local regulations before you let it stay. Removing a few bushes now costs nothing. Being forced to remove an entire hedge by government order costs thousands.
Fruit number 4, Trifoliate Orange, the disease carrier nobody notices. Trifoliate orange is a small tree that looks like a wild version of an orange tree. The fruits are tiny, round, and yellow-orange when they're ripe. They smell citrusy but taste extremely sour and bitter. Most people who find them never try to eat them. In rural areas across the American South, you can still find these small trees along fence lines and old property boundaries. Some farmers planted them as natural fences because the branches are covered in long, hard thorns. To someone who doesn't know better, it just looks like a scrubby, wild citrus tree. The real danger isn't the taste. The real danger is disease. Trifoliate orange can host serious citrus diseases. The problem is that it can do this while showing almost no visible damage. You can't tell the tree is sick just by looking at it, but internally, it's carrying pathogens that can spread into commercial orchards. Florida, Texas, and California have enormous citrus industries. Thousands of jobs depend on those orange, grapefruit, lemon, and lime groves staying healthy. A handful of neglected trifoliate orange trees on private property can become disease bridges. The sickness spreads from the wild tree into the valuable orchards nearby. There's another problem too. Those thorns are serious. These aren't small prickles. They're long, sharp spines that can rip clothing and injure livestock. They puncture tractor tires and ATV tires. Once trifoliate orange becomes established in a pasture, it costs a fortune to remove, especially on rough or hilly land. Agricultural advisors in citrus states recommend removing these trees completely. If you live in USDA zones 7 to 9 in the southern United States and you see a wild, thorny mini orange along your property line, don't assume it's harmless. Check your state's citrus guidelines. Talk to your local extension office. That free citrus tree might actually be risking an entire regional industry.
Fruit number 5, Callery Pear, the nightmare that was supposed to be perfect. This one is particularly frustrating for homeowners because the government actually promoted it at one point. Callery pears, often sold as Bradford pears, were supposed to be the perfect tree. They grow fast, they're disease-resistant, they need almost no maintenance. Cities planted them on every street. Suburbs used them in every parking lot. Homeowners put them in front yards everywhere. The reason was simple. They produce beautiful white blossoms in early spring that look amazing. The small fruits don't make a mess. Birds like the fruit. Everything about them seemed ideal for a landscape tree. Then something unexpected happened. The original ornamental trees were all clones, so they couldn't breed. But over time, different varieties got planted nearby. They cross-pollinated. The next generation of trees could produce fertile seeds. Birds ate the small fruits and spread those seeds into fields and forests. The wild offspring aren't neat street trees. They're thorny, aggressive trees that form dense, almost impassable thickets. These thickets spread across Ohio, Pennsylvania, and throughout the Midwest and Southeast. They crowd out native trees and shrubs that have lived there for thousands of years. Farmers started noticing a major problem. The thorns on wild Callery pears puncture tractor tires. That means expensive repairs, lost work time, and entire sections of land that become impossible to manage. Ecologists noticed that forests taken over by Callery pears lose almost all their native plant diversity. A tree that was promoted as the perfect solution became a weed that states spend millions trying to control. Several states have moved to restrict or ban them. Some offer bounty programs to pay people to remove them. Many neighborhoods still have mature Callery pears that were planted before these rules came into effect. If you have a white flowering pear tree that looks messy in fall, has small, bitter, marble-sized fruit, and you live east of the Rocky Mountains, check if it's a Callery pear. Replacing it with a native flowering tree will save you future problems and help your local ecosystem at the same time.
Fruit number 7, Russian olive, the tree that steals your water. This one is a serious problem in western states. Russian olive is a small tree or large shrub with silvery leaves and small olive-shaped fruits. It looks attractive and decorative. For years, it was planted across the western United States as a windbreak and as a tough, drought-tolerant tree. Landowners liked it because it survived where other trees couldn't. The problem emerges when Russian olive gets near water. Along rivers, streams, and irrigation ditches in Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, and New Mexico, it spreads rapidly. It forms thick stands that are extremely difficult to remove. But the biggest concern is water consumption. Russian olive uses significantly more water than native trees like willows and cottonwoods. In western states where water is precious and scarce, that extra use is devastating. Streams that flowed year-round can slow to a trickle as Russian olive takes over the banks. Farmers and ranchers notice their water supply shrinking. Russian olive also changes soil and shade patterns along rivers. It squeezes out native plants that local wildlife depends on. Once a river section is dominated by this tree, restoring natural habitat becomes extremely difficult and expensive. Removing mature Russian olives is costly work. The trees have deep roots and can sprout back if not properly treated. For ranchers and farmers who depend on reliable stream flow, watching Russian olive spread feels like watching their water supply being stolen tree by tree. Many western states now actively work to control Russian olive. In some areas, landowners are required or strongly encouraged to remove it, especially near waterways. If you live in the western U.S. in USDA zones 4 to 7 and see a silvery tree taking over your creek bank, check your state's guidance before allowing it to stay. Native trees provide shade and wildlife value without secretly draining your local water source.
Fruit number 8, buckthorn, the green wall that destroys forests. Buckthorn looks simple and harmless. It's a shrub with glossy dark green leaves and small black berries that hang on into winter. In northern neighborhoods and rural areas from the upper Midwest to parts of Canada, it might appear in hedges or along fence lines. Many people assume it's just another wild shrub that birds enjoy. Buckthorn does far more harm than most realize. The berries act like a powerful laxative for birds. Birds eat them, the seeds pass quickly through their systems, and those seeds get dropped across the landscape.
Buckthorn leaves out earlier in spring than native shrubs and trees and stays green later into autumn. This gives it a longer growing season. It can grab sunlight before other plants wake up and after they shut down. Over decades, buckthorn fills the forest understory, crowding out wildflowers, young oaks, maples, and other native trees. What makes buckthorn even more dangerous is what it releases through its roots and leaf litter. It produces chemicals that make it harder for other plants to grow. This chemical warfare lets buckthorn form nearly pure thickets under the forest canopy. From far away, a buckthorn-invaded forest looks lush and green. Up close, you see that almost nothing grows except more buckthorn. This means fewer native insects, fewer nesting spots and food sources for songbirds, and a dramatic drop in overall biodiversity. States like Minnesota and Wisconsin have declared buckthorn a restricted invasive plant. Landowners are encouraged to remove it when possible, though the work is difficult. Cutting without treating stumps leads to resprouting. Seedlings keep appearing from soil for years. If you live in USDA zones 3 to 6 and see a forest edge or fence line turning into a solid wall of dark green shrubs with black berries, don't ignore it. Check whether it's buckthorn and research safe removal methods. Stopping buckthorn now protects your property and the health of nearby woods. Share this information with your neighbors if you think they might have buckthorn on their land.
Fruit number 9. Privet, the respectable hedge that consumed the South. Privet is the classic nice hedge plant. Many people grew up with it lining their driveways and neighborhoods. It has small, glossy leaves, white, fragrant flowers in late spring, and clusters of small, dark berries in fall and winter. For decades, privet hedges lined properties across the eastern and southern United States. If you grew up before the 1990s, you probably walked past privet thousands of times. It was considered the standard of a proper, well-kept yard. That image was powerful and long-lasting. The trouble happens when privet escapes those neat, clipped borders. Birds eat the berries and drop the seeds into nearby woods, fields, and creeks. In Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina, and throughout the Southeast, privet has invaded millions of acres of forest. Once it takes hold, it forms dense, shadowy thickets under taller trees. Very little light reaches the forest floor. Native shrubs, wildflowers, and young trees struggle to survive. Over time, the understory becomes almost pure privet. Diversity completely disappears. This has huge consequences for wildlife. Many native insects cannot feed on privet leaves, so their populations drop. With fewer insects, there's less food for songbirds. Studies show that forests invaded by privet support far fewer native bird species than healthy, diverse forests. What looks like just a green hedge plant is actually helping to empty out entire food chains. Privet thickets also make land harder to access and manage. This lowers property values and increases fire risk in some areas. Several southern states now classify privet as a serious invasive plant and strongly discourage or restrict its planting. Older hedges remain in many neighborhoods. More and more landowners are removing them and replacing them with native or non-invasive species. For older homeowners, this can feel emotional. That hedge might have been planted by parents or grandparents. It feels like part of the home's history. But keeping it means constantly feeding a seed source that keeps invading nearby woods and creek banks. If you're in USDA zones 6 to 9 in the eastern or southern U.S. and you have an old, formal hedge with small leaves and dark berries, there's a good chance it's privet. Removing it over time and replacing it with native shrubs protects your property value and helps rebuild healthier local ecosystems.
The 3 questions that protect you. You've now learned about 9 fruits that carry hidden costs, plants that can poison people, plants that carry devastating crop diseases, plants that drain western rivers, plants that turn healthy forests into green dead zones. None of them look like trouble when you first see them. Most were actually promoted in past decades as smart, tough, or even eco-friendly choices. That's why normal, honest gardeners get caught by surprise. They're being punished today for plant decisions made years ago by governments, nurseries, or previous property owners. The good news is that you now have information that most homeowners don't. Before you plant a fruit tree or a shrub with berries, ask yourself 3 simple questions. First, could this fruit hurt someone in my family?
Think about children, older relatives, and anyone with health problems. Second, does this plant appear on my state or province's list of invasive or prohibited species? This is especially important if you live in a wheat, citrus, or forested region. Third, does this plant have a reputation for spreading aggressively into wild areas? If the answer to any of these questions is yes, or if you don't know the answer, take a pause. Do some research before you dig that hole. Your garden should be the safest and most peaceful place in your life. It should never be a source of surprise fines, angry letters from neighbors, or expensive removal orders. A quick check now can save you thousands of dollars in the future. It can protect your neighbors. It can protect local farmers. It can protect the wildlife around you. The best part is that for every risky plant, there are safer alternatives. Native fruit trees grow well in your climate and feed local wildlife. Non-invasive hedges look beautiful without threatening surrounding ecosystems. There are ornamental plants that give you beauty and harvests without putting a target on your property. Thank you for watching Golden Age Gardening. If this video helped you understand what to plant and what to avoid, please like and subscribe. Comment below with any questions about fruits or plants in your area. Share this with anyone you know who gardens or loves plants. Your subscription helps us reach more people and create more videos like this. Stay safe, stay smart, and grow responsibly.